Diego County has long been one of the top resettlement destinations in the country for refugees forced to flee their home countries due to persecution, war, or violence. But with language barriers and so many social and economic hurdles to navigate, they need support. And that's where the San Diego Refugee Communities Coalition steps in. Joining us to share more about their mission is Abdi Mohamoud. Welcome.
Thanks, Laura, for having me.
Abdi, tell us how you're working collectively to ensure that refugee communities are healthy, safe, and thriving.
The San Diego Refugee Community Coalition is a collection of 12 organizations with the support of the UCHD's Refugee Health Unit. And we come together in a spirit of cooperation to address the challenges that refugees across all the world that are living in San Diego face.
And these refugees are fleeing life-threatening circumstances in search of safety.
Yes, these refugees are fleeing persecution, civil unrest, armed conflicts. We see what's happening right now in Ukraine. We saw what happened in Afghanistan. So it's basically families that are just trying to survive.
Now, the first year of a refugee's life here in the U.S. can be uncertain, dealing with culture shock and trauma, but it can also be a time of hope and a new beginning. How do you help them on their journey to self-reliance and economic self-sufficiency?
Some of those services, basically include preventing homelessness with housing assistance, food security by, making sure that, families have access to food, and other services such as youth programs, help with asylum seekers, and other host of services to at least do what we can to make sure that families get the assistance that they deserve.
Now, since October of 2021, San Diego County has welcomed more than 5,000 refugees into San Diego County, largely from Afghanistan and Haiti. And despite being a vibrant multicultural community, San Diego's lack of affordable housing can be an issue, and it can be devastating for refugee families who are trying to start over and build a better life.
Homelessness is just a big issue in San Diego just because the price to rent a home is so expensive. And it even hits refugees much harder because they have limited resources. And that's where the coalition comes in, where we provide families with rental assistance and also know your right workshops, because families also face a lot of housing discrimination.
Now, your organization was one of only 3 local nonprofits to receive a $1 million grant from the SDG&E Community Assistance Fund. How will this support help you further serve thousands of under-resourced refugee families?
It will help us because we're trying to see what are the unmet needs, and the services that we currently provide go from access to housing, make sure that we're preventing homelessness, make sure that families have access to food security, make sure that youth have access to programs that introduce them to the wilderness so they can at least deal with some of the trauma that young kids have been through back in their home. There are other services, for example, mentoring, after-school programs. So the coalition does a whole services and that are very unique to each community.
To learn more, volunteer, or to support, visit SanDiegoRefugeeCommunities.org. Abdi, we thank you so much for sharing this valuable community resource.
Thank you, Laura, for having me.
And we thank you for joining us on San Diego Living. We'll see you next time.